All right, so we're gonna start off with the moon phase practice questions. So we're gonna start off with number one. And so first off, it says base the answers to questions 1 and 2 on the diagram below and on your knowledge of Earth science. The diagram represents the moon in 8 positions, right? So this doesn't mean that there are 8 moons. It's just showing that it's in 8 positions, A through H in its orbit around Earth. And number one says, which moon phase is observed in New York State when the moon is located at position F? So they want to know, what do we see on Earth when the moon is at position F? All right. So automatically, I'm just going to zoom in. We want to make sure that we are looking at position F from the Earth standpoint on the diagram, right? Not from our standpoint. So that lets me know that because position F is on the bottom, right? I'm going to want to turn my paper upright so that way I'm looking up at the moon. All right, so if you take a look, I'm just going to turn my paper and you can do the same way, right? Hold on. Okay. So we're still focusing on position F, right? So remember that in class, we focus on the fact that we see everything in a cone-shaped view, right? So therefore, I'm going to draw, and forgive me, I'm just going to draw what we see on Earth. Okay, so I'm drawing the outer layers, and I'm drawing a straight line. And so that lets me know this is what we see. All right, this is the part of the moon that we see. So what do I see just by looking? I see a lot of white, right? We're only focusing just on this portion of the moon. This is what we see from Earth. So I see a lot of white on the left and a little bit of dark on the right, right? I see a lot of white on the left and a little bit of dark on the right. So when I'm drawing my moon phase, I'm looking for a moon phase that has a lot of white on the left and a little bit of dark on the right. All right. And so therefore, when I switch my paper upright, which option shows that? If I turn my paper, let me zoom outward. Which option shows a lot of white on the left and a little bit of dark on the right? And that is going to be choice 1. And so the correct answer is choice 1. All right, number 2. So number 2 says, how many days, there we go. It says, how many days are required for the moon to complete a cycle of phases from the new moon position represented in the diagram to the new moon the following month? All right, so some key words that I see here already. It says, how many days are required for the moon to complete a cycle of phases, right? If we want to complete a cycle of lunar phases, and then it says to go from a new moon to the next new moon the following month, okay? One thing that we have learned in our notes is that for a complete lunar cycle, how long does it take for one lunar cycle of phases? It takes 29.5 days, so almost an entire month. So 29.5 days it takes to complete an entire cycle. And so because it takes 29.5 days, our correct answer is going to be choice 3, 29.5 days. This is just something that you just have to know. All right, number 3. Number 3 says, which diagram best represents the size of the moon compared to Earth when drawn to scale? All right. Which diagram best represents the size of the moon compared to Earth when drawn to scale? So we're going to choose the option that shows the best representation of the moon and the Earth. Well, in our notes, we learned that the moon is about 1/4 the diameter of the Earth, right? So that means that it'll take about 4 moons to complete the diameter of Earth, right? It'll take about 4 moons to complete how wide the Earth is, right? So therefore, I'm going to choose the option that's going to show me the best option where about close to 4 moons, the best option that shows me where about 4 moons can fit the width of the Earth, all right? And so when I do that, I know for a fact, there we go. I know for a fact it can't be 4, right? Because we could have multiple moons, right? Maybe 15 to 20 moons, right? Can fit this diagram. So it can't be that. It can't be choice 2 because it only looks like 1 and maybe a half moon can fit the width of Earth. It can't be 3 because the moon is still too big. It looks like maybe 2 moons can fit the width of Earth. So the best answer is going to be choice 1, right? It does look like 4 moons can fit the width of Earth. All right, that's why the answer is choice 3. Number 4. Number 4 states the following. Again. Number 4 says, the diagram below shows the moon at one position in its orbit around Earth. Letter X indicates the location of the observer in New York State. And the question says, which phase of the moon will the observer see when the moon is at the position shown in its orbit? So the question is asking, when the moon is located here, what are we going to see on Earth? What are we going to see on Earth? So once again, I'm going to turn my paper so that way the moon is upright. All right, I'm going to turn my paper to where the moon is upright. Okay, so this is pretty upright. Next, I'm going to draw my cone-shaped view, right? I'm going to draw my cone-shaped view, drawing lines to the edges of the moon, and then a straight line in between. So this is what I see. Okay, this is what I see. So when I'm looking, I see only a little bit of white. Only a little bit of white on the left. A little bit of white on the left. And I see a lot of dark on the right. All right. I see a lot of dark on the right. So when I'm drawing my moon phase, I'm drawing my moon phase where I see a little bit of white on the left and a lot of dark on the right. All right. And now when I turn my paper back to regular, here we go. Which moon phase does this represent? A little bit of white on the, a little bit of white on the left and a lot of dark on the right. The one that best shows that is choice 2. Choice 2. A little bit of white on the left and a lot of dark on the right. So choice 2 is the answer. All right, so number 5, it says, based your answers. Oops. There you go. Base it answers to questions 5 and 6 on the diagram below, which shows position moon in its orbit and phases of the moon as viewed from New York State. So it says, which statement best explains why the same side of the moon is viewed from Earth as the moon goes through its phases? All right. When we take a look at our notes, and this is something that we've copied down, and this is just a memorization question that you did need to know. Here we go, right? The reason why we see the same side of the moon is because the moon rotates and revolves around Earth at the exact same rate. The exact same rate. That's the key thing right here. The moon rotates and revolves around Earth at the exact same rate. So which option best shows that? If we take a look. Which option best shows that it talks about the moon's rate of rotation and revolution is the same? It's going to be choice 4. Where it says the moon's period of rotation equals the moon's period of revolution around Earth. Choice 4. Number 6. Number 6 says approximately how many days occurs between the moon's first quarter phase and the moon's last quarter phase. So let's take a look. So the moon's first quarter phase is here. The moon's last quarter phase is right here. Do we remember how long does it take? How long does it take for the moon to complete the entire cycle? It takes the moon to complete the entire lunar cycle, right? To complete the entire lunar cycle, it takes 29.5 days, right? However, the question is only asking how long will it take to go from the first quarter to the last quarter. So if a full cycle takes 29.5 days, then the half cycle takes how long, right? Well, if we did 29 half cycle, we did 29.5 divided by 2, half cycle would take 14.75 days, right? If a full cycle takes 29.5 days, a half cycle takes 14.75 days, right? So which option best shows 14.75 days? The best option is going to be choice 2, right? The closest day to 14.75 is going to be choice 2, 15 days. Number 7. Number 7 says, base your answer to the following question on the calendar below, which shows the month of July of a recent year. The dates of major moon phases as seen in New York are shown. It says the diagram below represents the phase of the moon observed from New York State one night during the month of July. And the question says, on which date will the next, keyword next, last quarter moon phase occur? So I'm going to look at my calendar. When was the last quarter moon phase occur? So the last one that occurred, and I'm going to look at my key, I'm looking for the last quarter moon. So the symbol that shows that is July 23rd, right? July 23rd was the last time. So I have to ask myself, the next one will occur 29.5 days later, right? 29.5 days later, which means it's almost a month, right? Almost a month. So what is about 1 month later, right? What is about 1 month later? 29.5 days. What is about 1 month later? The best answer is going to be, if I know 1 month from now is August 23rd, right? but I know that the lunar cycle only takes 29.5 days. I have to choose an option that's a little less, has to be a little less than August 23rd. And so the best option that's a little less than August 23rd is August 24th, choice 4. So you have to remember, each moon cycle completes 29.5 days, right? Which is a little less than a month, just about a little less.